And we are live. Welcome to Constant Collectible, issue number 11, where it is our mission to collect news and reviews in a world of geek culture for you to enjoy. I'm Simon.
And I'm Chad.
And tonight we are joined by our very own Johnny Savage. Johnny, what's going on?
Hey, just chilling in my basement.
Yes. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. All right. So, of course, we didn't have a show last week.
Out in my Batman.
I'm Batman. That's what you should have said. Yeah. So last week we didn't have a show. We wanted to just kind of take a break, with the holidays and everything. So, since we did take a break, how was your guys' Christmas and New Year's? Why don't we start with you, Johnny? How was yours?
It was awesome. So my daughter's 2, and we took her skiing. So she knows how to ski now. Just held her. I mean, she kind of just like dangled in between my arms, but it was really fun. We all went to the slopes and killed it.
That sounds awesome. Did you do that between Christmas and New Year's?
No, that was my wife has a massive family, so we all went on the New Year's weekend to celebrate Christmas. So it was cool. I come from, like, I don't know if you've seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding, but my family's kind of like the guy and her family's kind of like the girl. So it's a lot of fun every time there's siblings involved. There's like 30 people. So
overkill. Chad, what about you? Did you have overkill?
No, we didn't actually. It was nice and relaxed. Christmas Eve, we went to some friend's house here in the next town and chilled there for a while. Came home, had a relaxful Christmas with the wife and I that morning. Then went to my family's house that afternoon. Had some dinner. Had spread some joy. New Year's Eve was chill. We just had a simple dinner. Then we stayed home. Yeah, at midnight we kind of went, it's midnight. Hey, come here. and then went to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
It was relaxful. I needed it.
That's good. I wish mine was just as good as your guys's, but in my house we are battling the pneumonia and bronchitis. So I think we're at 3 weeks now, both the kids and myself. Luckily, Dee, she just says like, I have a sore throat and I'm tired. It's like, I wish. So that's kind of the way it has been in here. I mean, Christmas was nice, even though we're all hacking and drooling. And New Year's, we all, of course, went to bed early because, we're old. And other than that, it was nice. At least today was a nice break since we back to work, but it was a snow day, so got to enjoy those.
Yeah.
I'm glad everybody had a good holiday break. I hope everybody watching had a good holiday break. And we decided, I decided that, but I did send out an email to everybody that we're going to kind of change up the format on how we do the show this year. We kind of want to do some shorter topics, just little chit chat about some of the news that we may have missed during the week. Put that out there. We want to do a couple of reviews, either of something that we're reading from one of the companies that have sent us or something that we're watching. And then from there, we're going to have a main topic of discussion. And then we'll just kind of, finish that out with a few little show notes in what we're doing and where we're going. And that's kind of the format that we're going to start following from now on. So in our topics tonight, our first one, which I thought is very interesting. So in the rumor mill, basically is Woody Harrelson is being eyed for the role in the Han Solo movie. I'm going to start with Chad on this one, and because he's our Star Wars guy. And what do you think of this?
I like the idea of it. I think Woody Harrelson has a good, good presence. He's been a good, you could say, role model / drunk for the Katniss from the the other movie series we just had. But I think he'll be fine, especially possibly playing the character that Han Solo grew up with, the captain of the ship who he did swoop racing for. So it'll be interesting see if they actually go this route. Because I think it's rumored that he's going to play a role model type or influential character for Han Solo, young Han Solo.
Yeah, that's kind of what the reports are saying, and of course they're rumors. But what do you think, Johnny?
I mean, it's all completely based on where Woody is in his life. Is he somebody who was there during the training? Is he someone who is an equal with Han, which the actor is so much younger than Woody? Being that older mentor makes a lot of sense. So I'd love to see him doing that. But I mean, yeah, they haven't done wrong so far having Donald Glover play Lando. So I mean, I have the utmost faith in the casting on this movie. So I think they're going to nail it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about his roles in general, I think being someone who kind of teaches him the scoundrel ways, I think could be really good. I mean, we talked about a couple weeks ago about the upcoming Planet of the Apes movie, and then his role that he's playing there, tough guy, bad guy, whatever you want to call it. He fits into those. I mean, when you first saw him come into the screen, it was that dim-witted bartender on Cheers, and from there, all of a sudden, you're like, "Whoa, who is this guy?" He does some interesting roles. So I think it's going to be fun to it. So, on our next topic, on screen is well, the other week the teaser trailer came out for Blade Runner 2049, and news is coming out that they're actually also going to be bringing back one of the original replicants, which sounds very interesting, and I love how they're tying this into where they're going. Johnny, what do you think about this?
Well, I'm going to say some heresy, but I've never seen the original Blade Runner.
Ugh.
Okay, so that's enough from Johnny. Chad, what do you think? No, you have some homework to do.
Yeah, Blade Runner is actually one of my favorite sci-fi films, other than Star Wars, of course. Read the short story by Philip K. Dick. Love the movie. The movie and the original story there's a lot of differences between the two. I'm hoping that it's not like, Pris or one of the other replicants. I'm hoping that it's what's her face? The girl he ran off with. Sean Young.
Sean Young's character
that she plays. But I love the movie. I watch it a couple of times a year. This is one of the ones that I just keep watching. But I'm hoping that that's the character they bring back, because that's the character he ran off with. She's a replicant that didn't have a shelf life like all the other replicants did. Roy Batty had a shelf life. Like the creator said, you burn the candle at both ends and you die quickly. So, but it'll be interesting. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, you make up a good point with the shelf life, because everybody's like, oh, is it Rutger Hauer? Is Roy coming back? And it's like, is Daryl Hannah coming? But when you kind of put it on Sean Young's character, the way that they ended it, maybe there's something going on, like a side story within the story itself with her. Who knows? I think that's a good point. I like that idea.
Yeah, the Rachel, that was her name, Rachel. But yeah, it's interesting to note too how different the characters really were from the book to the movie. I mean, it wasn't Roy Batty that he had a problem with or a hard time trying to kill in the book. It was actually Pris, the girl. So it was a lot of cool differences, though. I like. If you haven't read the book, I suggest reading it. You can find actually a book of most of Philip K. Dick's work, and it's not too thick. There's a lot of Total Recalls in it. Several stories.
All right, that's good. And Johnny, don't read, just go get the movie and watch it.
I
Honestly,
will.
you need to. That's your homework.
I'll get on that.
Haven't seen it. Oh,
I'll have a 3-page paper for you.
yes, please. Yes,
Next week.
by morning. No. All right, so we're gonna move on to another film story, but this coming out of a different studio. This is Marvel Studios, and actually, I believe it was today that they officially released the synopsis for Thor Ragnarok, which I think quite a few people are interested in because of from our understanding is it's tying in Planet Hulk, which was a fantastic read by Greg Pak. And this is what it says. I'm going to read this out. In Marvel Studios, Thor Ragnarok, Thor is imprisoned on the other side of the universe without his mighty hammer and finds himself in a race against time to get back to Asgard to stop Ragnarok, the destruction of his homeworld and the end of Asgardian civilization, at the hands of his all-powerful new threat, the ruthless Hela. But first, he must survive a deadly gladiatorial contest that pits him against his former ally and fellow Avenger, the Incredible Hulk. What do you guys think of this? Johnny, since you didn't see the last one, I know you've seen all the Marvel movies. Let's go with you. What do you think of this idea?
Well, it's crazy because those are two stories where you have, Ragnarok, or you have stories where, Thor has to cross the universe. You have stories, she's the goddess of the dead. You have this really complex tale, and they seem to be including Planet Hulk, which that they're going to have for the first time in a Marvel movie, too much happening. And it might not be, but it's, for me, Planet Hulk is one of the most rich and amazing comics that I read. You have this tale where the Incredible Hulk winds up on a planet where he has to fight gladiatorially, becomes the king of the planet, and then eventually a lot of comics spur off of that. So you see he has children, and they fly back to Earth, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff storyline. So I'm hoping they don't try and condense too much. I hope there's more, like the next Incredible Hulk movie is another branch off of this. They kind of, ignore the events of hopefully Planet Hulk. But my first thought is I'm a little worried they're gonna have too much going on in one story.
Okay, that's a good point. I like that. What do you think, Chad?
I like the initial thought process here. I'm curious to see if this is going to lead into a Planet Hulk storyline or movie. There were initial rumors and talks that Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange was going to make an appearance in the movie, and there's nothing. There hasn't been any mention so far of that. I do like it. My only issue is, if he's separated from, I can't remember Mjolnir, whatever, how you call his hammer.
Mjolnir, yeah.
Mjolnir, if he's calling to it, is it not coming to him? I don't know. But then he lost his powers in the recent, comic series. So Jane Foster picked him up. But so I guess the big question is, where's this going to lead us in terms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Obviously, I think it'll probably lead up to maybe the next Avengers. But what I'm interested in finding out is, like I said before, is this going to lead up to Planet Hulk?
Yeah, do we get something like
already
that?
Being pitted against him in the movie in some sort of gladiator arena. So does this mean that the Hulk, this is where he obtains Planet Hulk? So I don't know.
Yeah, I because we know that these two were not in the Captain America Civil War film because of what is happening in this film. I do like the fact that it is these two, because in the first Avengers, I mean, they had some great scenes together with how they made Hulk and Thor just kind of back and forth on each other. And I love how we're going to probably get a little bit more of that. I am curious, though, how did Hulk get there? How did Thor get there? You know, there's these little tidbits. And, you know, as Johnny says, you know, maybe it does have a little bit too much going on for it. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But I don't know. I'm a little intrigued. I'm hoping, you know, because the first two Thor movies, the first one was pretty good. The second one was okay. I'm hoping this one just knocks it out of the park, you know. Because as far as the Marvel movies themselves, I think this is probably one of the lower rated of them all. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree or disagree?
I'm tempted to really agree with that. And to be honest, I think it would be hilarious if they followed the new story arc for Thor, you know, and they actually brought in Natalie Portman because she inherited the powers, you know, somehow. They did something like that, and I'll be honest, I think it'd look pretty hot.
Yeah, well, it would be, but she basically said, no, I'm done. I'm not coming back to any Marvel movies. So that's why I believe in this one. He has a new love interest as well. So what do you think, Johnny? You think they've been up to standard, or could they be better?
I mean, if you're going to ask me what Marvel movie I want to watch, it's never going to be Thor or Thor 2. So,
okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and it's kind of like, you know, I heard somebody say today, talking about Lord of the Rings and how Two Towers isn't their favorite, but then they stopped and said, well, but it's better than any other movie I've ever seen. They love that series. So it's kind of like that to me. Like, I love Thor. I love Thor 2, but out of all these films they've hit so well on so many of them that, you know, it's kind of, in that sense, it's not the best, but it's still pretty great. So I don't know.
Right on.
I like them.
All right, now let's get some TV time, and there's something that Chad and I are waiting for. And just the other day, the trailer dropped for the second half of season 3 for Star Wars Rebels, and wow.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, I've probably watched it about a dozen times so far, and there's a lot of cool content in it. You know, we see some kind of new, what looks like an assassin droid, which might be possibly an early version of IG-88. He gets kind of down with Zeb. You see him squatting Chopper, you know, throwing him around a little bit. But you see also some old key characters, one of which being Saw Gerrera, who we just saw in Rogue One, which, let's remind everybody, Kathleen Kennedy came out and said he was going to play a pivotal role in the upcoming Star Wars universe, not including Rogue One. Yeah. So, you know, if that's the case, then there's going to be a, you know, something that ties into possibly Star Wars Rebels, maybe ties into the new live action TV show they're talking about. It might tie into a new standalone that they might be working on, or it might be the new cartoon, which no one knows anything about. So, but the fact that, you know, Kathleen Kennedy, who's like pretty much the new Lucas for Lucasfilm, has said that she's, you know, he's going to play a good pivotal role. So, which is good. I like the character. And from what we saw in the teaser trailer, he seems really cool. You know, he's strong. He's just like the old stuff in the Clone Wars and earlier on in the Star Wars Rebels. I think in season 1 we saw him in. But, you know, we see Sabine's mom's clan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. So, you know, hopefully we get some more, you know, Mandalore action, which, you know, I love the Mandalore. So, and then, and did you notice in one of the scenes where they're on the bridge of the Ghost, did you see Captain, you know, Cassian in the background?
No, I missed that.
Yeah, he's sitting in the back.
So, so my picture on Instagram when I said, I'm thinking we're gonna get to see that, it actually is happening, and then boom, here we go.
So they're starting to bring in the tie-in of Star Wars Rebels to Rogue One.
Good, we're building up to that that is awesome. Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Plus, there's more.
Oh, there's all kinds of cool stuff, and of course, I mean, let's just get down to the nitty gritty. The very end of that trailer, we have Kenobi and Maul.
You're in the wrong place.
The final, and it sounds just like Alec Guinness.
It did. It was amazing because it's interesting because the way the trailer started, it started with the old voice actor, doing it, who was doing it for the Clone Wars,
Right.
cutting in and out, basically giving all the Jedi, you need to run and hide. It's not safe, which was at the end of episode 3. When we finally get to the old man sitting on a stump in front of a fire, the voice that came across, my jaw dropped. I'm like, no way, that sounds just like him. I cannot wait. Everybody is pining for more Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor said, hey, I'll do a film, bring me back. We'll do my story. They are doing a lot of his story in the comics right now. Now they're bringing him to Rebels. They talked about him in Rogue One briefly. They didn't say, they said a few things that who they were talking about. The rest of the season looks amazing. Johnny, did you see it? Did you see it?
I did.
Okay, what do you think?
This isn't like Blade Runner. I have seen this one. No, I mean the thing that always fascinates me is we were just watching the prequels. I saw Darth Maul fall down the shaft, and I'm like, oh my gosh! For non-Star Wars fans, there's so much that happens with that character, and this is just more because he gets you excited. But to have him pitted with Obi-Wan again, exciting. I mean, I love that battle where you see Darth Maul just so confident, and I'm ready for a rematch. So that's the thing I'm looking forward to most of this season. But yeah, I'm right there with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, the other stuff that's worth noting too is that Sabine has the dark saber, which is something very valuable in the Mandalorian culture. It's something that goes up against a lightsaber, and she obviously has it in this trailer. You actually see her actually wielding a green colored saber, and she's actually using that to go up against someone else wielding the dark saber, which it's a very fast scene, but it looks like maybe it's Thrawn.
Yeah, which we get a little bit more activity out of him. It's not the laid back, meticulous thinking, this is what it's going to do. Now we're at the part where it's like, okay, now I'm acting. Now you guys will see how, deadly I am. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. It just, when it dropped, it just floored me. I was like, oh, I'm so ready. And now I'm just can't wait for us to watch it and spoil it for everybody.
Yeah, it comes back this Saturday. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yep. All right. So next one on the shelf. Got a email today from Image Comics, and basically what the Image Comics is going to be doing, if you didn't know, 25 years ago this year, they formed. Ragtag bunch of writers and artists basically left the bigwigs and went and started their own company. And these ragtag guys did pretty good, and now they're all doing a lot of their own things. But what Image wants to do is they want to celebrate some of the older books in the news stories. And so Image is gearing up to celebrate their 25th anniversary this year. In doing so, they're releasing variants of the company's current books. So the first image that we have been given is the upcoming Deadly Class number 26. And the variant cover that they're doing is Mark Silvestri's Cyberforce number 1, which is pretty cool. And, there'll be links for all this in the show notes. But that's the first one that they're doing, and each month of the anniversary year, they're just going to pump out new ones for different books. This will start on February 1st. What do you guys think? Excuse me. What do you guys think of this? You know what, Johnny, you're more of the comic reader. What do you think about Image going back and digging in and celebrating some of these original books?
Well, it's Image's original. I mean, if you think back to when I honestly attribute Image to to making writers matter in comics again, because in the early 90s, late 80s, it was all, it was all about who's the coolest artist, and oh, there's an awesome page when you turn to page 18, there's just a big splash, and that's all that matters in your comic. Image, they were big, they were flashy, they were just like that, but because they owned the rights to their, the creators owned the rights to these comics, it changed how we as fans perceived them. And I grew up where Image was there and DC and Marvel had to catch up with how interesting comics were. So I honestly think the reason that I love comics today is because of what they did. So, paying tribute, that's the coolest thing Image could do, because those first comics history, in the 80s, we did have people like, we had the Dark Knight Returns, we had some great comics, but nowadays, people come from all kinds of industries into comics to write. So I'm really glad that they're just acknowledging 25 years ago something drastically changed, and I love it.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're absolutely. And some of these creators back then, you had Jim Lee, you had Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, you had oh my gosh, I can't remember, Rob Liefeld, and a couple of other guys. I mean, here they are walking away from the big studios to want to do their own creations. You got Spawn out of this. You got Savage Dragon out of this. You had gosh, there's a ton of other characters, and it did open the door, I think, also for a lot more of these independent comic companies to be out there and to be able to expand on everybody's ideas that, hey, I've got a story, and I want to own it, I want to keep it, and how do I do that instead of giving it to Marvel or DC, because if you go and work for those guys, they own that stuff. It doesn't matter what you say or what you do. You don't get anything out there. You get paid for your work, and that's about it. So what do you think? What?
Bill Finger?
Yeah. Exactly. But Chad, what do you think? What do you think about paying homage?
I like it. I like the idea of, reissuing, past stuff, and also giving new alternative covers to it, something that's kind of refreshing and kind of cool. I kind of like some of that stuff, how some companies will do that. I don't like it for everything. I'm more of a traditionalist, but I do like this idea. I like how they're doing it. I like the fact that they are celebrating this. And whenever I think of Image, I always think of Spawn. Mm-hmm. And of course, I think of Shark, who's watching right now. Go ahead and wave, Shark, because I'm saying hi to you. But but he was a huge collector of Spawn. Loves Spawn. Whenever I think of Image, I just think of Spawn. And of course, there's all kinds of stuff. Rob Liefeld, or however you want to pronounce his name, I've never been a huge fan of his, just because some of his artwork has been kind of like, what? I think the biggest one everyone always thinks of is that Captain America, where he's kind of standing sideways, but he's not.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Way out here.
Head is here, body is here. Yet you are wearing a hat and a T-shirt that was created by the man you're dissing.
Yeah. Which is funny because I do love the Deadpool character. I've collected some of the comics from Deadpool. Not many, not compared to obviously most of you. I'm not a huge comic book reader, not especially compared to you guys, especially you, Johnny, Simon, of course, Shark. I'm pretty sure Hannah reads more comics than I do.
She does now, because I have brought her over to the dark side.
Right. I saw those text messages earlier of, what have you read? What are you going through now? And I'm kind of going, I'm sitting in a meeting at work going, oh, okay. But, I read books, but I slowly read comics here and there, depending on the subject. And but I like the idea. I'm actually on board with this.
Did you just say something controversial? Did you just say comics are not books?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay. All right.
I read novels. How about that?
Okay. All right. All right. Well, yeah, that's going to be good. But I'm glad to see that they're paying homage to the man who basically created this company and opened a door and brought us some very interesting characters. So, and speaking of, comics and stuff like that, let's jump into reviews. One of the new topics we kind of want to do. In the review section, we want to talk about either comics, novels, games, TV shows, or films that maybe we have come across. And Johnny, you're going to talk about Savage. So very interesting choice of book.
Yeah. No, if you read my first review for the first issue, you'll see that I poke fun at that Savage as well. But yeah, so this is a new book coming out, coming out from Valiant Comics. Yeah. It's written by B. Clay Moore. The art's by Clayton Henry and Louis LaRosa. There's a lot of covers for this one. We've got Louis LaRosa doing one cover with Jared Fletcher and
yeah, don't even try.
No, Bill Synkiewicz.
You live in Chicago. You're going to need to learn to say these names.
I know, and I'm Synkiewicz. Yeah, thank you. I'm Polish, so I should know all the Slavic names, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no. So there's different character designs that were done by Louis LaRosa in this issue. There's a variant cover. Valiant is doing a cat cosplay cover.
Yes, they are.
Which I know, Goody, you just said you're a traditionalist and you're not a fan of the variants. This is the exact reason I think you're not. But I think it's amazing. They dressed up cat characters from their comics and made those covers. So this one has a cat with a feather sticking out of its ear and stuff. So. But yeah, so this comic is it's basically, imagine David Beckham with his wife being his manager. They crash land on an island with their infant son, and there's no human life, but the trees and the bushes seem to be teeming with some big beasts, dinosaurs. So yeah, to survive, they're going to have to go through this brutal transformation from man to beast. They have to become something more feral to survive on this island. So it's really, I mean, let me just say, Valiant does so much. They did the Father's Day comic a couple years ago, but I'm not embarrassed to say I cry a little bit in all their comics. So this is definitely one that's made me so
sweet.
Definitely something you should read. I don't want to spoil too much of why it happens, because it's surprising how they do it. One of the most interesting literary things they do is the first half of the comic is, and then they do the flashback. So, you kind of have that Deadpool excitement and then kind of catching you up to how we got to this point. And so they're going to only have 4 issues of this comic. So they're halfway through and I'm still feeling, disconnected and really connect with characters, but the story is still a little choppy. So we'll see. I mean, I want to save all judgment until we get to the 4th book. So
okay, all right. I have not read it yet. I still have the 2 issues. Part of me just wants to binge it all, and then part of me wants to jump in there and just get started with it, because I mean, we've been posting about this book for months now, showing images, showing artwork, all that kind of stuff, and it's one of those that I'm like, okay, this looks interesting, because their Valiant is changing their universe, and I am looking forward to this one. And yeah, I'll be glad. I'll be waiting to hear what you think once the series is concluded. So Chad, what are you reviewing for us today?
I actually started watching that TV show called Beyond. It's on the Freedom Channel. And it's actually, as of today, actually, I think it was as of yesterday, you can watch all 10 episodes on Hulu.
Okay.
This is its first season. Like I said, there's 10 episodes. It was created by Adam Nussdorf, starring Berkeley Duffield, Jordan Colloway, Dylan Gwynn, Jeff Pierre, Jonathan Whitesell, Michael McGrady, and Romy Rosemont. The plot is that this kid named Holden Matthews, who's played by Berkeley Duffield, is on a dirt bike in the woods trying to get away from these bullies, basically, and basically eats crap. He crashes, and this light comes out of nowhere. The spotlight on him. He's kind of freaked out about it, and then it goes black. And the next scene we cut to him waking up in the hospital 12 years later.
Okay.
He was in a coma for 12 years. Now, his body was in a coma, but his mind was not. So,
okay.
Yeah, he discovers that he has these new abilities that propel him into the middle of a dangerous conspiracy. He's getting chased by people. He meets this other young person, this very attractive young lady who he tries to hit on in the store, and his younger brother is trying to teach him how to, hit on girls, because he has no clue. It's actually, it reminds me a lot of our favorite show from Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
So, but it's interesting to find out that this girl is there to kind of try and protect him and help him. Meanwhile, she has this older gentleman who is looks like he's in a coma in this private house, and she's holding his hand towards the end of the episode, talking to him verbally, and he's responding to text messages on her phone.
Okay, I want to check this out.
Yeah. It was actually really interesting. His powers are pretty cool. It's something you really have to. It's not. I wouldn't say it's completely original, because he's finding out what he's able to do right now. But it's actually, I like it.
Okay.
So far, but like I said, it reminds me a lot of Stranger Things. The cast is pretty good. It's nothing that's too cheesy yet that I've noticed. I'm planning on probably watching a couple episodes tomorrow, after I get home from work. So so far so good. I'm starting to really get into this.
All right, cool. And then one of the things that I wanted to do as we do these reviews is I want to rate it. So Johnny, let me jump back to you with with Savage, and here are your options. And you should know these options because you helped with these options. Would you give it a P for poor quality, an F for fair quality, a G for good quality, or M for mint?
So far, I give it a G.
G, good quality.
Yeah, good quality.
Okay, good quality suggested. Some material may be quite enjoyable to most audiences. All right, cool. Now, Goody, what would you give us for Beyond?
I am going to go with mint.
Mint. Okay, high praise. So mint, highly recommended. Under 17 may not be able to handle how awesome this is. Really amazing. All right.
Not PG-13 or NC-17, but I'm going with mint.
Okay, no, that's awesome. Okay, and what I have review for us is a little book that comes out of Black Mask Studios. This book is known as 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank. It's written by Matthew Rosenberg, art by Tyler Boss, letters by Thomas Maurer, and I kid you not, this story is awesome. It is hilarious. Here's the premise. It's going to only be a 5-issue miniseries, but it's about an 11-year-old girl named Paige and her crazy, weird friends who run into a little bit of a problem, right? So there's a gang of ex-cons that come into town that needs Paige's dad to help them with a heist that they're going to do. The problem is these guys are idiots. They are the stupidest criminals out there, and she's trying to save her dad from basically falling in again with these guys and ending up in prison because every time they do something, they get caught. We're on the 3rd issue. 3rd issue dropped in December. I think it was December 21st. there was a little bit of lag in getting us issue 3. I can't remember what the issue was. It was either a printing or finalizing story or something, but I've read all 3 of them, and they are hilarious. It is Goonies meets Stranger Things meets E.T. meets it's all these characters. I mean, characters like you would think were created by John Hughes. I mean,
So is Paige kind of like Penny from Inspector Gadget?
You know what? These characters, yeah, kind of, yeah. As the story goes on, she's kind of developing into that. You have Paige, who is she's oddball herself. She's a tough little girl. Again, she's 11 years old. She beats up the bully. You know, she has a friend who is all into chemistry, and she steals his glasses. And of course, all class, he's just doing this because he can't read anything. And he builds this chemical composition together. And because he couldn't read, he mixes it incorrectly. And instead of creating this one potion, he turns it into a truth serum potion. And, you know, he makes the bully say all these things to one of the staff members at the school. I mean, it is hilarious. Each book starts out in a very interesting way. Book 1 started off with them doing their own version of D&D, and the characters in the D&D that they're playing are talking their voices. It cracked me up. In the second one, I think it was the second one, maybe it was the second or the third, they're playing a video game. They're arguing over because so-and-so lost. I gave you a quarter, and you're supposed to use that quarter to play, but you spent it all on bubble gum. Give me some bubble gum because I mean, they're yelling at each other. It is the funniest book I have read in a long time. And then we break off into this world where they're trying to figure out, how can we help Dad? How can we not do this? And their idea is, we're going to rob the bank first. It's awesome. You guys, I'm telling you, if you have not read it, you have to read it. 4 kids walk into a bank. I highly recommend it. This is mint. Each issue has been fantastic. I cannot wait for the next 2 to drop. And you guys got to go and check it out. It's fantastic stuff. So, so those are our reviews. Hopefully you like something, you go and check it out. Let us know in the comment section whether our mint is worth a mint, or what you think. But let's jump into our main story of the night. And this one actually comes from Johnny. He had some thoughts here, and how we looked at last year.
Deep thoughts.
Yeah, these are deep thoughts, and I think this is a great topic: the difference between Marvel and DC when it comes to their television and cinematic universes. Johnny, why don't you tell us what you're thinking?
Yeah, well, my biggest problem, just forewarning, I'm a huge DC Comics fan. So, I read, I keep up on maybe 1 or 2 Marvel comics, but I get almost everything DC. So when I'm coming from a unique perspective, because I want the DC movies to do well so bad. They're doing good at television, but I wanted to kind of take a look at what's happening at Marvel and what's not happening at DC. Because we saw the Suicide Squad, just as many characters as the Avengers, but they didn't pull it together. It was a little more disbanded. We saw, a kind of negative reception of Superman. And so, yeah, I thought we could start by questing and figure out what they're doing differently. So, yeah. So I mean, the first thing that I think Marvel's doing right, and you guys can probably attest to this, is keeping the movies and the television shows in the same universe. Now, in DC, you have the Arrowverse. You've got over on Fox, they're doing some work with Gotham and trying to expand that universe, but they're different, and I think that's hurting them a lot, because if I, on any day, am just feeling like, hey, I'm just going to watch my TV show from Marvel, I know that the repercussions from the movies and the repercussions of TV shows they play back and forth. So I have this larger universe being built slowly and meticulously, and DC's kind of separated that. So, I mean, what do you guys think, like, in terms of how DC is doing that? Do you think it was wise for them to separate Marvel, or what are your thoughts?
All right, Chad, do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
All right, so here's my thinking, and it is a shame because, like you, or actually not so much anymore, I was heavy into reading the DC comics, and the difference between these two studios, which, if you think about it, isn't a whole lot, because they're both owned by big studios. Marvel, of course, owned by Disney, and DC owned by Warner Brothers. But who has the better track record in general? And I think it's Disney. They came up with a game plan, which is fantastic. They came up with this, and it was an afterthought, to be honest. They did Avengers, and then they came to Whedon, and they basically said, we kind of want to do this idea. And so they started expanding. They created this one single universe. They tied in television programs, which I think was very smart, because it didn't matter if you watched the film to watch the TV show and vice versa, but yet they still connected with each other. You're right. DC is separated. DC is, I think, hurting themselves. They're trying to catch up. And that's the main problem, is they're trying to catch up instead of creating their own idea with how they want to do this. They are trying to mimic Marvel, and I think that is what is hurting them. They should have been original. Marvel's doing it this way. We're DC. Let's do it that way. Now, here's the thing, though. We are going to see probably a change, because I think there are several people in the DC house that understands, you know what? We did screw up, but we can fix this. And one of those guys is Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns has stepped in with the new Batman role with Ben Affleck, to basically kind of right the ship. We know that one of the executives for Warner Brothers and DC Entertainment has been moved over. Jeff Johns has stepped into that role, and I'm okay with that, because Jeff Johns got his training from Richard Donner, who brought us some Superman. He learned the business there, and that's how he got into, working with DC and Warner Brothers. And then, because of his background working with Berlanti and the TV programs, now bringing that stuff to the big screen, I think we're going to see a shift, and I really hope that he can save it. What do you think, Chad?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think that shift came last year, when they initially tried to reorient their ship, basically. I think you're completely correct when, if you were to compare the two currently, I think Marvel is far out ahead in what they have accomplished and what they're doing. Their Marvel Cinematic Universe is, just jumping leaps and bounds, partly, in my opinion, because of their backing. They have a huge corporation behind them. They have, obviously, Disney. So they have the money, and Warner Brothers is a good company, not as obviously strong or as well funded as Disney, of course. But, I think under correct leadership, I think they can really reorient their ship there, their game plan, and get something going that's really cool. I remember as a kid, I was heavily into the DC universe before I, kind of quit reading comic books for a while. But go ahead and laugh. Shut up. But so yeah, but I liked the DC. I was, a huge Batman fan. I liked Superman, not as much as a lot of people did. I was a bigger Batman fan. I liked the Flash, and I liked the whole Justice League. But it's been kind of Marvel out there in your face to, propelling all this. And of course you have, a few movie, series that came out, like Christopher Nolan's Batman, that really I think helped the DC universe. So I'm hoping that they're able to do something a little better now.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the things, though, I think that maybe DC should have thought of is, like I say, they should have done something different. And to be honest, they are doing something different. They are killing it when it comes to TV. You have shows, you have Arrow, you have The Flash, you have Legends of Tomorrow, you have Supergirl, you have Gotham, you have Lucifer. Just recently announced we are also over on Fox going to get Black Lightning. And then just a couple of days ago, Jeff Johns tweeted out and said, hey, we got some news. We got another show coming TV. Previous news, they were also doing a Kryptonite or Krypton show for TBS, I think it was. And we were going to go a couple of generations back in the House of El for like Superman's grandparents. That to me, I think if they had made their focus and just said, we're going to take over TV, Marvel, go ahead. You can have the movies. That's okay. Maybe we'll do one or two here and there. But the TV is, I think, for them where it's at. Greg Berlanti has been doing pretty good. I think sometimes Legends is a hit and miss. Supergirl is a hit and miss, but it seems to be getting better. But who knows? That's what I think should have been going, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for me just kept dragging. It just kept dragging on, and I just stopped watching altogether a long time ago. Most of the stuff coming to TV for Marvel is through Fox, and it's not even Marvel Studios. It's going to be all mutants. We're getting all those kinds of shows. What do you think, Johnny? What do you think the difference is between the TV aspect of things for Marvel and DC?
Well, yeah, I mean, Greg over on DC, when you got Arrow, you got Flash. The thing that they did so well was integrating everything together, and it's because there's somebody at the helm. I think what's going to turn this around, and I'm hoping, I'm twisting my hands together, hoping that Jeff Johns is really given full reign. A couple years ago, he did an interview with Kevin Smith on Batman, the podcast, and he talked about, as a 10-year-old kid, all he had was his uncle's comic books, and it was right there at Flashpoint. So he was seeing a universe destroyed, and he was learning all about DC continuity. And he doesn't say, like, I love Batman. He doesn't say, I love Superman. He says, I love the DC universe. And so what Marvel's done so well is Kevin Feige?
Yeah.
How do you say his last name?
I think it's just Feig.
Feig? Yeah. He's been, after the Avengers movie, the first one, he's just been given free reign of the film. He said, here's a plan. He got together with all the creatives and said, we're going there. Let's make the movies go there, but make your own film. Just know that that's what we're working towards. And so there was goals for each character to arrive at. There was movies that had to come into play. And then Jeff Loeb over on television, that's why Daredevil, you see Jessica Jones playing so well with Luke Cage. Yes. That's why, you see Foggy joining the firm from Jessica Jones. You see this integration. Yeah. In Daredevil, they keep saying, like, oh, because the crazy people over all the supers in New York and stuff. And so there's this really, you feel the universe. So even with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is an ABC show, so I agree with you, Simon. It really does tweak. That's like the point of the show. So I don't know if they're super strong there, but it's the integration, and that's why Arrow and Flash did so well. Flash, the first time you meet Barry Allen, he's on Arrow. He came over from Central City to investigate superhumans. And that's what made those so good. You see Supergirl and Flash have, crossing universes. That's what made that so strong. So if Jeff Johns can get on the helm the same way Jeff Loeb and Kevin Feige have, you're going to have a stronger universe. Yeah. And DC, they've got crazy awesome characters. They've got, years of background. So there's no reason they shouldn't succeed if they have somebody pointing everybody in the right direction. So
Yeah, and
You
I
know,
have a feeling it will
that's
be
the
Jeff
thing.
Johns. That's how he does it. I mean, if you look in the history now of how DC Comics themselves have kind of shifted and what they're trying to do, you know, you've got the big basic takeover of Jeff Johns, Jim Lee, and all these other guys, kind of taking DC in a different direction with their comics as well. Now, yes, we've got the new series that is going on now. We had the New 52 before that, because they wanted to put their mark in it, and trying to take away some of the readership that Marvel was getting constantly. So hopefully, you know, what they did with their comics, they can do with their TV programs. And I agree. That's where DC is killing it. They're doing a great job with their TV programs. Everything is, you can watch just one show. You don't have to watch the other ones, but if you watch all of them, they do intertwine and it's fantastic. And that's how the movie universe is operating for Marvel themselves. Now,
Well, those are great points too, because you guys both brought that up, and I was going to make that earlier, but you know how Netflix and Disney are really starting to come together for all these Marvel shows that are happening on Netflix, and you have all these DC TV shows that are super integrated. Not as much, I would think, as the Marvel ones are on Netflix, even though they are highly integrated. I think they're doing a superb job of doing so. But I think what we have here is that you have a company like Marvel and Disney, which, you know, obviously Disney owns Marvel, who are going to be pushing this. But they're only going to, I think, push it to a certain degree because the TV revenue is only so high. And unfortunately for a lot of the fans, they want more of that. You know, they don't
yeah,
want just the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They don't only want just the superhero movies. They don't only want, you know, the Star Wars movies. They want TV shows as well. And I think what was the last interview that they did for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they said once this series is done, the Infinity War series, that they are done, right?
yeah, that's my
So
understanding as well.
yeah, so where do we go from there? Are they going to will Marvel start something new, or will they try and reboot something? We already know where they're kind of going with with Star Wars, that, you know, Disney, of course. But where in the TV shows are we going? We want to see more TV shows. You know, this is what keeps us going throughout the year, opposed to getting one or two movies a year. We want to see the TV shows because that's what keeps us really drawn. So, but I'm hoping that both do a superb job, because if both are doing a superb job, that means we're getting, you know, hit from both sides, and I'm just fine with that. I'd
Yeah.
like to see more of both.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I mean, the movie universe, I think what we'll really see if Jeff Johns does a great job with turning the ship around will be how well will Wonder Woman be. She was the best
Right.
part of Superman versus Batman. That, I mean, she was only in there for so much time, but she absolutely was the best thing. Now that they have, you know, her movie coming out in a couple of months, that's the first one with Johns jumping in and saying, okay, let's kind of tweak this. And now he's doing some other stuff. Let's see if that ship is going the right direction. So I would like to see more, because Johnny's right. They have some fascinating characters over there in the DC universe, but so does Marvel. But let's see if we can have, you know, good on both sides. You know, I
I
don't
can't
want
wait
it.
for Aquaman, though. I'm gonna be honest. Not only do I want to see, you know, Wonder Woman, but I want to see Aquaman.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Cal Drogo doing it though.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, no, that would be good. So now here's my question. With Jeff Johns basically saying, hey, we're gonna make another announcement of another show. Who do you think, or who do you want it to be? And let's start with Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, you know, who do I think it could be? Static Shock makes a lot of sense. Anybody who's my age, that was like noon. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Batman Beyond and Static Shock. That's us. Like, we love it. And so that's
Yeah.
a big audience. You know, millennials, they're they're pretty big numbers. You know, there's a lot of us. So, but yeah, I mean, that's obviously just a revenue field they can pull in. Just such an interesting character. You know, this kid, and you know, if they really go with how the cartoon went, you know, you have all of these villains, just kind of like Smallville, where you have, you know, kids that he grew up with that are the villains, and so you have instantly this. We were in grade school together, and I have to stop him. So this is like an emotional struggle for me. Like, it just makes a whole lot of sense for DC. But you know, my secret wish is Vibe. Like, get a Vibe TV show
to spin him off. Or yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that's right. I forgot you're a huge Vibe fan. Chad, what about you? What do you think? What do you think it's going to be, or what do you want it to be?
You know, if I had to choose, I actually really liked the Batman Beyond, you know, show. I kind of got into it when it first came out. I'll be honest, I saw Static Shock, and I'm sorry, Johnny. I'm hoping not. But yeah, so I'm gonna go along with Batman Beyond, if not something that deals with Aquaman.
That's pretty good. Okay, so I have a few thoughts. Here's my wish list. And Johnny, I think one of these you'll really agree with. And you would have been like, oh, I wish I'd said that. My first one I think would be awesome is it would be great to get a Nightwing series.
Oh, yeah.
Nightwing, I think we could do. We could tie it into where he is at Bloodhaven. There is no Batman. I mean, there is, but there isn't. We could do that. The other one that I was thinking that they could do is because if you look at how these other shows are done, they do have huge cast. They have a cast of, you know, so many people. You know, on Flash, you've got so many characters. On Arrow now, you have so many characters. They're all these teams. If they do another team show, I have a feeling it would be kind of cool to have them do. Oh gosh, now my brain is not working, but Legion of Superheroes. So going into the future. All right. And doing that, you know, here you have a group of 6. You can use 6 of them, but breaking them off, you know, these 3 doing this and these 3 doing that, or, you know, however you need to be doing it. But the one that I think would be fantastic for them to do, which I don't think they're going to do, I think it'll be like a Legion or something like that. Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
Oh, my heart. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
That's not even in my radar.
Yeah. If you go ahead, Chad.
I'll say this because this is not my idea. I'm going to give credit to where credit is due, because I didn't think of this, and I love this character. And then Shark just texted me and said, Shazam.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be cool. Billy Batson. That is a good one.
Yeah.
I like that, Shark.
I think Shark is dead on this one.
That one's really good.
And it's something they can really do.
Yeah, they could. That would be cool. And you know what? If Jeff Johns is saying it, you know, hey, we're teasing, here comes another show. That's one of the characters he kind of digs also. So yeah. I don't know. You may have nailed it, Shark. That's a good one. But oh yeah, man, now I wish I thought of that. So all right, so that's that. Oh, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to be thinking of that all night. All right, so that's basically kind of the rundown how we're going to do that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. If they did the film version, of course, though, it would have to be Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller and make it a comedy for Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. I've posted pictures of that. So, but let's jump into what we're watching. Johnny, why don't you let us know what you're watching right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you couldn't tell from the topic, I've been watching the Netflix Marvel shows. I don't know. We kind of fell off with that because I've been watching the DC and I've been watching Arrow and Flash. But I picked up watching the last half of season 2 of Daredevil just a month or 2 ago, and I grabbed Jessica Jones off the shelf last week. And as Marvel is making TV shows for me now, so that's really nice to know, because this is a superhero show but it's also a crime noir. And I did not realize that. I knew like that's kind of what the posters were, but then I started watching Daredevil, and I didn't expect it to be scene, feel like, Jessica, she has this kind of like stale view of reality, just like in the comics, and it feels like my television show. So I was blown away.
Right on.
Seeing Doctor Who as a bad guy has been really fun.
Yeah, that's right. The Purple Man is David. That's right. All right. And is that it? Are you reading anything besides? Well, I know you're studying, probably studying all that stuff, but is there anything? I mean, you read Savage. Have you read anything else lately?
Well, I'm trying to get all of DC's stuff in. So
okay.
I'm all over the board there, and I love what's happening with their Arrow comic, the Green Arrow comic. It's been really fun watching him progress and seeing Ollie progress again. But yeah, my wife got me all 6 Star Wars movies, all the first ones. We've been watching through those again, and after watching Rogue One, it's just been really fun to be like, oh my gosh, like, remember how this happened in Rogue One? It matters here. Like, that's so cool. So yeah, no, just my usual haul of DC books, watching Jessica Jones, and then on film, just really checking out all the Star Wars movies and going through them again.
Right on. Chad, what's on your radar?
Well, like I just mentioned earlier, I started that TV show Beyond a couple days ago on the Freedom Channel or Freeform channel. I, like you, am anxiously waiting for Star Wars Rebels on Saturday. I'm also anxiously very looking forward to the Tom Hardy show Taboo next week.
Yes.
Which, leading into that, that's going to be one of the shows we're going to be spoiling this for the next few months. So this is our next series. We'll be spoiling it. I over the past week and a half, I have binge watched. You guys may laugh, but that Leah Remini Scientology and the Aftermath show, where she talks about Scientology. She brings on all these other people who have escaped Scientology. And that's a trip. There's one more episode left, which airs, I believe, next week. So yeah, some of the guys at work have been watching it. John, if you're watching, but he and I talk a lot about it at work. So it's intense. I mean,
what channel is it on?
It's on.
Who's
A&E.
airing it? A&E. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And after every episode, my wife and I kind of looked at one another going, whoa. Yeah. It's some of the weirdest stuff, but it's lightning. It enlightens on what Scientology really is. Which, if there's a Scientologist watching now, I'm sorry, but this is not a religion. Also watching Conviction with Haley Otwell. That's going good so far. I'm hoping it doesn't have any real dips in it, in the writing, because I think if it does, it's just going to go away, unfortunately. Okay. I just picked up The Book Thief because Hannah and I are kind of trading books as like a not really competition, but hey, try this. And so I told her I asked her to read Ender's Game.
Oh, did you?
My all-time favorite book by Orson Scott Card, and she said, "Okay, well then you read The Book Thief." Okay. So I picked up yesterday. I only got a couple pages in it, so but I just started it, and I think we're both actually going to write reviews. So
sweet. All right, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
that's cool. It's funny that you bring up Ender's Game because I text you the one day and I'm like, have you seen the movie yet? Because it was like really cheap at Target, and so I'm like, I just got it. I finally watched it the other day. It was okay.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, of the actor. I'm not a big fan of his. I don't like the way he portrayed the character.
Yeah. Yeah, they really diminished a lot of the stuff that he has to go through
Right.
while in training. I mean, they cut that down to, I mean, it felt like only 5 minutes, and you're like,
And I think that's the most important part of the entire book, all the stuff he went through.
I absolutely agree. Everything there. So I did watch it. It was okay, but I think I got it for like $5. So why
It's
not?
about worth that.
Yeah, because I mean, and it came with 3 different ways of watching it: DVD, Blu-ray, and digital. So,
Right.
but one of the things that I was watching too, I just finished last night Narcos on Netflix, and that is the story of Pablo Escobar down in Colombia and the whole drug, cocaine thing that happened down there in the 80s. Really good series. I love, they do embellish some of the story, but it just kind of adds a little bit more tension to what it was all about. It is really good. If you don't mind subtitles, or if you understand Spanish, go ahead and watch it. It was really good. I had watched season 1 a while ago, and then I was like, oh, I need to get to season 2. So I just watched that. That was great. Still watching Downton Abbey, but of late I've actually been reading more. I'm reading a lot of books coming out of Boom Studios and Black Mask Studios as well. I talked about 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank. I'm reading a book right now. I just finished number 3 from them. It's called Black, and it's a very interesting series, basically where the only people that are getting superhero powers are African Americans. I like kind of where it's going. They are playing on the whole racial thing, which works in the story. The only thing that I'm bothered with is the language. The language makes them people, just in general, everyone in this book, so ignorant and stupid. And I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to portray where they are coming from, whether their background, their ethnicity, all that kind of stuff, and culture wise, but it really kind of brings me down. So I don't know if I'm going to continue with that. One of the other books that I'm reading over at Boom Studios is, I finally decided to, and I've never been a fan, but Boom is redoing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I figured, you know what, the movie's coming up soon, so I'm like, I'm going to check these out. I have read the first 3, and still kind of iffy. And I think because I'm not a huge fan of the Power Rangers, I didn't grow up watching all that stuff, but Kyle Higgins is doing a pretty good job with it. I kind of like where it's going. I want to read more. And of course, I'm reading a lot of the books also from Valiant Entertainment. So that's kind of what's on my radar right now. So, yeah, and then of course that's going to change here soon as new shows start. But why don't we just let everybody know where they can find us? Johnny, where can they find you in the world of social media?
Anywhere you go, type in Kopijo, Kopijo. I am on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I think I have a blog somewhere. But find me on Constant Collectible for blogs. Yeah, it's Kopijo. My Twitter account is kind of what gets fed everything. So my Instagram is actually Kopijo1, because some Slovenian guy has the rights to Kopijo over there.
That's right.
So,
I remember that.
yeah. So, but anywhere else, type in Kopijo, you'll find me.
All right, Goody. What about you, my friend?
You can find me on Twitter at ChadGriffin12. You can find me on Instagram at DJ Kilt. Facebook under Chad Goodwin. And of course over at ConstantCollectible.com, and I am Goody over there. Goody just about everywhere you go. But yeah, come check us out at Constant Collectible. We post stuff, I would say daily. Lots of good articles, reviews. We have lots of other people who work the site. We have Hannah Heath, Susanna Metzler, of course Johnny, Simon, and myself. We have a couple new people who are just coming in. We have them in the far corner of the office. They don't even really have a full desk yet.
Yeah, get my trash.
Yeah, so they're sitting on a trash pile. And of course, you can see Johnny there. He's sitting on a cooler in the basement of our office. And you can see our stuff, our water heaters and everything in the back. And Yeah, that's just Johnny though. He likes the basement.
Yeah, he's like our Gollum. My precious. I mean, look. Honestly, I mean, look. You're sitting there. I'm just waiting for you to get a ring. My precious. All right, and of
Yeah, I've got
course,
a string my page too.
yes, exactly. And of course, I'm Simon. You can find me over at Twitter at C_collectible, over at Instagram at C_collectible, and ConstantCollectible.com. We're also over at Facebook. And just want to thank you guys for watching. But we do have an announcement before we end this. Next week, Spoil It is back, so I hope you guys come and join us. Spoiler will be back on January 11th, where Chad and I will be discussing Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 11, titled Ghosts of Geonosis. In this episode, we see that Ezra is haunted by visions of Maul and must journey across the galaxy to deal with these visions. We are also going to spoil Season 1, Episode 1 of Taboo. And here's a little snippet of Taboo. Taboo is a story of James Keziah Delaney, played by Tom Hardy, who returns to 1814 London after 10 years in Africa to discover that he has been left a mysterious legacy by his father. Driven to wage war on those who have wronged him, Delaney finds himself in a face-off against the East India Company, whilst playing a dangerous game between two warring nations, Britain and America. Taboo is going to air on FX this coming Tuesday, January 10th, and I hope you come and join us for that, because we will be spoiling that for our next show.
That should be a fun episode to spoil it.
Yes, it should be, because we're anxiously awaiting them. I hope I mean, I'm sure Rebels will hold up, but Taboo, I mean, I really want this one to do well. It is only an 8-episode show.
Right.
And so, we will sit down and we'll just talk about it, and hope you guys come and join us. Again, I'm Simon, joined with Chad.
Also, you should mention too that we're gonna jump into Taboo next week, but as soon as the Expanse Season 2 comes out, we're going to cover that too, which they will overlap just slightly.
Yeah.
But that'll keep our Spoil It show continuous on. So,
yes,
if you have something else you want to see that might be coming out spring, summertime, shoot us an email, leave a comment, what you think you might want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So come join us. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Come visit our website, constantcollectible.com. Chad mentioned there's articles pretty much popping up every day over there. Lots of news popped up today. One of the books that Johnny had reviewed earlier last year was Angel Catbird. Got a preview of Volume 2 coming out in February up on the post. If you are a subscriber to Marvel Unlimited, you can see what is coming up this month for your service. Britannia's coming back from Valiant Entertainment, and lots of other stuff floating in and out of the website. Come check us out. Leave us a comment. Come say hello. Everything we talked about should be in the show notes down below. Links to things that we talked about. Appreciate you watching, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Bye.